Ayo gamers, welcome back to another Q&A. Well, not another, because this is the first time, isn't that right?
Yeah, this is like episode 1.
Oh, I like it, I like it. Alright, well, let's get going, let's get cracking with all these questions and hopefully answers. Let's get going, let's get going.
Alright, so the first subject that is going to be brought up is by our dear Navy Jexu. And he brings up perhaps the point to switch around the events of, like, the event times of the ISD with perhaps the planetaries.
Oh, alright. So swapping around, I believe he was saying on like a rota, right?
Yeah.
A rota. Alright, I like it, I like it. Yeah, it's a pretty cool idea, actually. What are you doing with that block?
Stealing it.
That's for duping, silly. Anyways. Yeah, the Navy idea, the Navy. So, swapping the ice team planters. I think it's a pretty cool idea. I think we should definitely try it because, it could encourage people to come on earlier, that's good for the server, and also it can maybe put the ISDs at times that more people are usually on. Because more people usually are on those times. So I think it's something we should try. For sure.
Yeah.
And hopefully it goes well. So yeah, I like the idea. We're starting off strong. We're starting off strong with some good, incredible ideas. Let's get going. Let's get going.
I do think it's a very good idea, well, because I think it might encourage the Navy to come on at different times.
It's true, chucking some variety.
Yeah, they don't seem to think that they have much reason to get on, which is fair when the events that's intended for them are usually at night.
Mm-hmm.
Or very early in the morning. Alright. So, the next subject being brought up is by destle, and this is regarding the EP team. He brings up...
EP team?
Yeah, he mentions that he feels that the EP team is being a little underappreciated.
Oh dear.
Mm.
Well, I personally... I know EP... Being an EP is a pretty difficult job. You're basically responsible for making sure that the people on the server are having a fun time. And I know it can be pretty demanding with all the stuff you can do. I used to do a lot of events back in the day myself, so I know all the struggles. I think the EP team do the best they can. I think they put good effort, so if there's things I can do to make them feel more appreciated, I would love to do that, but I can say for sure that I don't take the job they do for granted. I know it's not the easiest job in the world.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good response. Alright.
Hope so.
Then the next subject being brought up is from Cosmic.
Mm-hmm.
So Cosmic was not pretty happy with how things turned out in the merge, that sort of thing, and I don't know if there's too much to be said about that, since I assume that's more in the Army High Command department, but they weren't very happy with what's it called, basically becoming officer and that sort of stuff.
So, I would definitely say that overall, the merge has definitely been a learning experience. It's not been the best received update on the server. It's far from it. It's had a lot of controversy. It's definitely been a very dividing update that we've done. So I think it would be very close-minded for me to just look at only from the perspective of the merge and the content of the merge. Oh, these things in the merge were bad. Yeah. But I think there's a lot more to it. I think things like the communication with the players definitely could have been better. I feel yeah, we went to the commanders of the regiments. We went to commanders of all the different SpecOps regiments and asked their opinions on it. But I feel like maybe something that's this impactful to so many people, probably a better way to have done it would probably be to actually speak to all the people that were actively playing those regiments first, rather than trying to keep it a secret. I guess my whole mentality with that sort of stuff is a surprise is more fun, I love surprises, they're so much fun, but obviously there's a time and place for that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like something that was this impactful on people definitely wasn't the place to be. Not basically just not the place to be not diligent. It's important that we stay diligent with this sort of stuff. So, that's my thoughts on that. And for the thing about Cosmic and Officer, yeah, that's the thing that he did say, when he rejoined that that wasn't the kind of spot he'd be interested in, and we are all really super grateful that he did even agree to help with us on that sort of stuff. He's a real trooper. He's a real trooper. Hopefully, we can find a spot that would be more fun for him as time goes on. Because it's not fun to just put people in spots they don't want to be in. So, we'll definitely see what we can do about that. But that's something I'll need to speak to people like Narca, Locker, all the people that deal with all that jazz.
Indeed. Alright. So, the next subject brought up by Cosmic as well is that he would like the old way of the medics back.
The old way of the medics, you say?
Yes. I believe that he would like, what's it called, the medical to be their own separate regiment again. To be an entity of their own.
Yeah. So, the original reason why we even, made the change for the medical regiment was basically the idea that the regiment didn't have numbers. The medical regiment. It was very inconsistent. Every time we tried to take a step in making it active, it would get some traction. We'd pick a new CO, they'd get all their friends in it, it'd get some traction for a week maybe. And after that point, people would just be like, this isn't...
They'd be like, that's nice, I'm out.
Yeah, apparently people just don't enjoy being only a medic, which is why we said, okay, let's add some more depth to it. Let's make it so you're not just a medic, you're also a trooper, because the things medics were suggesting at the time were they wanted to do more combat stuff. They wanted, vehicles, they wanted more weaponry, that sort of stuff. So it's okay, this gives the best of both worlds, One, we solve the activity problem because, well, if it's the players of the server being in regiments that are medics, well, there's an infinite supply of people in regiments. So recruitment's a lot easier when it's a subdivision. And then they get all the stuff they wanted, all the combat stuff. So they have their medic stuff that they enjoy, and they get all the goodies that they wanted. I guess over time, all the people that had those suggestions,
vanished.
Obviously, after a good few years, you cycle through people on a server. So I guess what we can learn from this is, we need to adapt to what people want in the moment. We can't just stick to the same ways all the time. Because, what worked yesterday might not be what works in a year's time, So, I guess, yeah, since it is, different people, they have different needs. So, that's totally something we can look into, but it would be good if something changing that, we did have, a lot of people that were interested in it. It's not just, one or two people that want it. Not that one or two people are important, but, something like an entire regiment being formed, that's
It takes a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work, yeah. I mean, it's difficult to run a reg, as Cosmic definitely does, because well, he runs the reg. So yeah, hopefully there can be more people interested in a medical regiment, but until then, I think it would be good to find more things to make medic enjoyable, so there would be people interested in that, Because the interest can't come from nowhere. We need to make people interested in it, and we'll do what we can. I already have some ideas, but we'll have to see how things go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll bring up the next subject. This one is from Frank. Frank thinks that Navy could use some changes or updates to keep things interesting. He's not exactly sure what kind of things that could be, though.
Things keep Navy active and interesting. So, Frank definitely brings a good point. There hasn't been much for Navy in a while. I think the last major update I did for Navy was when I introduced all the consoles. So, like, the turbo laser consoles that we made, the sector scan consoles, the deck scan consoles, all that stuff, all those consoles. That was a pretty big update, and that got a lot of interest because it turned Navy into something that was just slash me C into, like, something really cool. And I think it's nice that we did stuff in the past, but it's also important that we keep doing stuff in the future. So I think just because of how long it's been, I think something for Navy is, definitely a priority, and I'll try and think of some stuff to do. But for sure, I would love to hear what people in Navy, or people outside of Navy as well, wanted in it, or would get them interested to join Navy for.
Alright, and the next one is from also Frank. Frank thinks that small updates will keep the server running for longer.
Yeah, so I have obviously been trying to make larger updates, and I've been trying to build bigger projects over time. But that does come with the negatives of there's delays. I guess smaller things are nice. They're definitely a cool thing to do. Oh gosh, what was that fall? Yeah, I guess both ways have their pros and cons. So smaller updates, well, there's just not as much. It's just like small stuff that gets changed. Bigger updates, a lot gets changed, but you have to wait a substantially long amount of time because apparently my strategy of being the only developer of a server isn't as good as the strategy of not being the only developer for a server. So I think we need to be realistic about what we can do in a time frame that will keep the players happy. So yeah, I think I would agree with Frank. I think, oh my gosh, let me turn my music down. Yeah, I would definitely say that smaller updates are probably more sustainable for the time that we're in.
Yeah.
And if that's what the people of the server want, then I don't see a reason not to do that.
Okie dokie. Alright, and then we have two things brought up from Exo.
Mhm.
So, Exo mentions that he feels that the events have become very repetitive, and that he would like more uniqueness in the stories and events that take place.
More uniqueness in the stores and the events take place. Yeah, so obviously we do our best to try and create storylines and things. We host weekly meetings with all our event planners to try and figure out what we want. We have the event feedback channel to see what the community would like as a story from our events.
Yeah.
And obviously we have Lucius and Cosmic whirring away coming up with ideas, Obviously, we do lore events, just like Cinder that we had. A very cool event. Obviously, we do our lore events, which do always have a nice, rich story, something we're all familiar with. The Star Wars lore. It is also nice, though, to see some creativity from the team. So, I think we will try to encourage more creativity. I can already see some ways of doing that. I think maybe it's been nice where every event is like a cohesive story, but I think it would be interesting to see more input from the actual event planners on how their event is hosted. Because the way we do it now, we kind of are a little bit restrictive. We do say, okay, there is a certain way that we want the formula to be. But it might be good to get more of their actual input of the event planner.
Let them loose a bit.
Exactly.
Alright. Yeah, that's pretty good feedback.
Okay. I agree.
Next one is that EXO does not feel that the management communicates together with the player base well enough, and that when things are brought up, that they get disregarded.
Yeah. So I can't give amazing commentary on that just because I personally taken a little bit of a step back for the past month because of some personal reasons. But as for the rest of the team, I know Narka, he's recently picked up a very hour-intensive job lately, so he's not really been able to be around as much because he just has to be at work basically 24/7. He's a real grinder, you know. He learned it from the best. And Locker, again, you know, he's got situations, he's got things going on in his life. You know, he works a full-time job. He's a little captain of his own ISD, you know.
Yeah.
Well, not an ISD, but you know, same thing.
It's a medical ISD, it's fine.
Exactly. So, you know, these are both people that don't have as much free time as they used to, especially with how intensive the schedules can be this time of year. I think I get that it might seem like that because I'm guessing, you know, well, I'm not guessing, but I know most of the people on the server are younger, so a lot of us don't really know about, or we haven't really experienced firsthand how difficult it is to have free time. But I would say that if you don't get a reply from either of them quickly, they're not ignoring you. And if you don't get a reply from them, again, I would say they're not ignoring you. It's just more the fact that, you know, you can see a message while you're at work and you'll be like, oh, okay, I'll reply to that later. But then sometimes just with all the things that come on your mind, you can forget. I'm sure we've all had that. And if it is like a consistent problem you have, you know, please, just do come message me. I can, 1, sort out your problem that you had to begin with, and 2, figure out exactly why you haven't been replied to, and make sure that doesn't continue.
Also, this is more me. I know that it's annoying to, what's it called, have to, like, ping a person about something again. But I feel like everything would work a little bit better together if we all help each other out every now and then. So if you need to ping someone twice, then that's just sometimes what's gonna happen, I guess. You know?
Exactly. You know, because at the end of the day, we're a community, we're a team. You know, it's not just agent server. You know, it's not just Narcus server, it's not just Locus server. It's not just the Fox Heroes server. You know, this is all of our server. You know, we're a team. We work together. So, your support would be appreciated. You know.
Yeah, that was roughly the final thing that was put up.
I got to say, I'm liking the design that you got put together during this.
Thank you.
It's looking quite nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all the feedback we got so far, right?
Yeah. And
all right.
As a final note to people, I would probably be planning on doing more of these in the future. And if anybody has any feedback, then we do have the server feedback, and perhaps next time we would go in and read some of those out instead of chasing down people on the server.
Yeah.
But that was about it. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording now.
Alright, wonderful. If you liked that video, please be sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, the video ended. Bye.